All right, so I'm gonna be kind of just talking about verbal cues, what they are, how they're used in learning and relearning. Give some examples of that kind of thing. Verbal cues are essentially a form of verbal instruction, and when it comes to verbal instructions, you use a lot of different kind of words or phrases in order to sort of communicate to somebody how to perform something, right? You're doing so through a auditory medium, and of course there's stuff that you gotta like consider, right? How much you're speaking, how you're gonna communicate that information, whether you use a metaphoric injury. You gotta make sure to avoid ironic speech in which you accidentally cue them into the wrong thing, right? You tell them not to miss and they miss or whatever. But verbal cues are essentially a fix to a lot of the problems that longer verbal phrases could have. Because trying to instruct somebody to do something that can be fairly complex, it can be a lot extra to process, right? Like the squat or the deadlift or the like the baseball throw are all very complicated, and verbal instruction can provide somebody too much information to sift through when they're actually performing the movement, which can be potentially very fast, right? Or like in a tennis serve or something. Verbal cues are very short, concise phrases that directs the performer's attention to either regulatory conditions, their environments, their constraining stuff around them, or to key components of the skills that people might be missing, right? Like I know that a lot of weightlifters will try to screw in their feet, as in like they try to rotate their feet outwards in order to prevent valgus collapse. When performing the lunge, since a lot of people sort of cave their knee in or their ankles will get a bit weak, I was actually seeing a PT the other day who sort of instructed a patient to sort of bring their heel in. That's like a very short, concise way to do that. You know, or like yeah, or people will say to like drive their hips up when forming like a squat or a hip thrust or something like that because it cues in the glutes. Those are all examples of verbal cues and how a person might learn that, or you know other types of cues include regulatory ones, like ones that tell you to avoid obstacles, right? Like drive around it or swerve or something, stuff like that. Verbal cues are just short phrases that help to direct a performer's attention without being too much.